Ye feel not, happy pair, sunk into a kindly sleep. We, meanwhile, our hope will keep, and if time leagued with adverse change, too busy fear shall cross its range, whatsoever check they bring, anxious duty hindering, to like hope our prayers will cling. Thus, while the ruminating spirit feeds upon the events of home as life proceeds, affections pure and holy in their source gain a fresh impulse, run a livelier course. Hopes that within the father's heart prevail, are in the experienced grandsires slow to fail. And if the harp pleased his gay youth, it rings to his grave touch with no unready strings, while thoughts press on, and feelings overflow, and quick words round him fall like flakes of snow. Thanks to the powers that yet maintain their sway, and have renewed the tributary lay. Truths of the heart flock in with eager pace, and fancy greets them with a fond embrace. Swift as the rising sun his beams extend, she shoot blessed with a new visitant, an infant guest, towers where red streamers flood the breezy sky in pomp foreseen by her creative eye, when feasts shall crowd the hall, and steeple bells glad proclamation make, and heights and dells catch the blithe music as it sinks and swells, and harbored ships, whose pride is on the sea, shall hoist their topmast flags in sign of glee, honoring the hope of noble ancestry. But who, though neither reckoning ills assigned by nature, nor reviewing in the mind the track that was, and is, and must be, worn with weary feet by all of woman born, shall now, by such a gift with joy be moved, nor feel the fullness of that joy reproved. Not he, whose last faint memory will command the truth that Britain was his native land, whose infant soul was tutored to confide in the cleansed faith for which her martyrs died, whose boyish ear the voice of her renown with rapture thrilled, whose youth revered the crown of Saxon liberty that Alfred wore. Alfred, dear babe, thy great progenitor. Not he, who from her mellowed practice drew his social sense of just, and fair, and true, and saw, thereafter, on the soil of France rash polity begin her maniac dance, foundations broken up, the deeps run wild, nor grieved to see himself not unbeguiled, woke from the dreamer to upbraid, and learn how sanguine expectations fade when novel trusts by folly are betrayed, to see presumption, turning pale, refrain from further havoc, but repent in vain, good aims lie down, and perish in the road where guilt had urged them on with ceaseless goad, proofs thickening round her that on public ends domestic virtue vitally depends, that civic strife can turn the happiest hearth into a grievous sore of self-tormenting earth. Can such a one, dear babe, though glad and proud to welcome thee, repel the fears that crowd into his English breast, and spare to quake less for his own than for thy innocent sake? Too late, or, should the providence of God lead, through dark ways by sin and sorrow trod, justice and peace to a secure abode, too soon, thou comest into this breathing world. Ensigns of mimic outrage are unfurled. Who shall preserve or prop the tottering realm? What hand suffice to govern the state helm? If, in the aims of men, the surest test of good or bad, whate'er be sought for or professed, lie in the means required, or ways ordained, for compassing the end, else never gained. Yet governors and governed both are blind to this plain truth, or fling it to the wind. If to expedient's principle must bow, past, future, shrinking up beneath the incumbent now, if cowardly concession still must feed the thirst for power in men who ne'er concede, nor turn aside, unless to shape a way for domination at some riper day. If generous loyalty must stand in awe of subtle treason, in his mask of law, or with bravado insolent and hard, provoking punishment, to win reward. If office help the factious to conspire, and they who should extinguish, fan the fire, then, will the scepter be a straw, the crown sit loosely, like the thistle's crest of down, to be blown off at will, by power that spares it in cunning patience, from the head that wears it. Lost people, trained to theoretic feud. Lost above all, ye laboring multitude. Bewildered whether ye, by slanderous tongues deceived, mistake calamities for wrongs, and over fancied usurpations brood, oft snapping at revenge in sullen mood. Or, from long stress of real injuries, fly to desperation for a remedy. In bursts of outrage spread your judgments wide, and to your wrath cry out, Amperson quo. Be thou our guide. Amperson quo. Or, bound by oaths, come forth to tread earth's floor in marshaled thousands, darkening street and moor with the worst shape mock patience ever wore. Or, to the giddy top of self-esteem by flatterers carried, mount into a dream of boundless suffrage, at whose sage behest justice shall rule, disorder be suppressed, and every man sit down as plenty's guest. Oh, for a bridle bitted with remorse to stop ye leaders in their headstrong course. Oh, may the Almighty scatter with His grace these myths, and lead ye to a safer place, by paths no human wisdom can for it race. May He pour round you, from worlds far above man's feverish passions, His pure light of love, that quietly restores the natural mean to hope, and makes truth willing to be seen. Else shall your blood-stained hands in frenzy reap fields gaily sown when promises were cheap. Why is the past belied with wicked art, the future made to play so false a part, among a people famed for strength of mind, foremost in freedom, noblest of mankind? We act as if we joyed in the sad tune storms make in rising, valued in the moon naught but her changes. Thus, ungrateful nation, if thou persist, and scorning moderation, spread for thyself the snares of tribulation, whom, then, shall meanness guard?